Hey guys, my name is Wren, and I'm bad at art. Today I'm making a zine. A zine is like a little book, kind of. That's a bad description. It is a self-published thing. There are a lot of things that a zine can be. Sometimes zines are small, like the one I'm making today. 8 pages on one regularly sized sheet of paper, like 8 by 11 inches-ish, or whatever the standard size is. Folded, so there's 8 panels, and then cut in the middle. This isn't a tutorial for folding paper. You can find any other number of videos on this, so many other places. So what I've been dealing with lately is just a lot of stuff. How descriptive. My hands have been kind of shaky. I've been going through a busier time. I just drove to Toronto this week and back in the same day. That was fun. Do I recommend it? No. So I decided that for this video, I wanted to do something a little bit less intense. So I made my first zine ever. That sounds less intense to me. Just kidding. I had this idea of a little ghost dude, and that was it, pretty much. That was the whole idea. And I kind of just decided to run with it. I did make a little mock-up of what I wanted the zine to be, and you can kind of see that towards the left of the screen here. But I still just went right in with a Sharpie pen. This is not a Sharpie marker, and it is not a fine tip Sharpie. It is a Sharpie pen. I love it. And that's all I have to say about that. I decided that I was going to just jump right into it, right into this idea, and not do any sketching, not do any coloring or anything. I may end up actually going in and doing coloring. The mock-up version does have some... I used a blue highlighter to highlight all of my words. And I actually do really like the attention that it brings to the words because it is just all black and white. So I may end up going in and adding a splash of color later on. I'm not totally sure. I don't actually plan on like printing this or selling it or anything, doing any level of distribution, because it was sort of just like a thing for me, and I don't think anyone else would buy it, and that's okay. The premise of it, pretty much, and I will read it later for you, is there's a little ghost, and he comes out of a house, and then he's going on a walk, and he finds a path, and the path leads into the woods, where he's then jumped through by a bunny. And in the very last page, he's sitting on a tree stump in the forest with a couple little bunnies around him. It was pretty introspective, I guess. It seems silly. It is silly. It seems silly because it is silly. And I'm okay with that. I just needed something to do. And art has normally been a very therapeutic thing for me, and I wanted to kind of return back to that, I guess. And so I didn't want to take this too seriously. I didn't want to get too caught in the details. I didn't want to make sure every time I drew the ghost that it was perfectly on model. I didn't want to put a piece of paper behind the paper I was working on to make sure all of the words are perfectly straight on the page. I didn't even do a very careful job writing the words. That's just what my handwriting looks like. And I mean, obviously, it is not the best thing I've ever created, but I'm so tired of having everything that I make have to be the best thing I've ever created. Just sometimes I want to make shitty little doodles. So that's what I did. I did some ugly drawing things, and I had a lot of fun with it. I'm sure that I will do this again, and I'll do it more. I have a couple ideas for some other zines, more intense projects than this one, This was really fun. It was a little thing. It was, I mean, kind of like vent art. But I have a couple of projects that I want to work on that are a little bit bigger, longer things, so not just one-page zines. Not that I think that there's anything wrong with it. Like I said, I love this zine that I made. I had such a fun time. It turned out way better than I thought it would. But I want to do themed things. I want to do longer, more pages, more intense work. So, longer projects, harder, more time-consuming ones. But that's for the future, not for right now. Getting to the end of this zine, I was having a little bit of a trouble because I didn't actually know what I wanted to do for the very last panel. And what I ended up doing was probably the best thing that I could have done. I didn't really want this to feel as heavy as I knew that it was going to feel, because that wasn't really the point. The point wasn't to feel heavy, it was just sort of to get it out there. And so I decided that the very last panel, the back cover, if you will, being a little bit quieter, a little bit softer, a little more introspective, was the right feeling to leave this on for myself. And honestly, I always find work that has words to be a little bit more personal than work that doesn't. So that's a weird thing. So here's this, sharing it with you. Cool. I hope this is something that you guys like and are okay with watching. Something maybe you want to see. The only word on the last page is my name. So it says Wren, and it says the date that I made the zine on so that I remember in the future. Alright, so here is the finished zine. People keep telling me that I care too much. And they're probably right, but it's hard to let things roll off my back when everything goes right through me. Here's a little dude standing on a tree stump. You know. It's a little much, but it's fine. Anyways, I decided to show a little bit more about what I do and how I use art and how I do things. And part of that was going through my journal. And I journal in a way that is not particularly traditional. I know a lot of people that do really, really nice, like, bullet journaling. I know a lot of people that do really nice personal, like, diary style journaling. And I know some people that do both. And I don't know a whole lot of people that journal the way that I journal, which is all in one place. I do my personal entries here. I do my idea lists. I do my to-do lists. I do my planning, my day-to-day planning, my month-long planning. I do everything all in one book. And I know a lot of people just find that too much, too messy, too all in one place. And I won't do any of it if I try to separate it. I just don't. I won't do any portion of it, which is fine. You know, like, it's okay. That's allowed. But I like to. I like to feel like I have my life together. And things that make me feel like that are feeling productive, which is the making a calendar, which I'm doing right now, and thumbnailing sort of what my days look like. Thumbnailing, writing out what my days are going to look, planning ahead, you know? And also the more personal aspects of it, the little blurbs of things that are going on, little vignettes of what my life is like And it's not even really anything that I look back on frequently. I've got notes in this journal as well, and I look back at those, but if I happen upon something even, I normally don't anyways. I still don't look at any of it. And it's okay because it's just something I need to get out. And it's something that's really good for me as a whole. Here, I'm kind of not only writing out what needs to be done this month, but things that have already happened. And again, that's just sort of for documentation's sake. I went to Toronto this week for a medical exam, not for myself. And on the 18th of this month, we're going to be going up to Montreal, which is in Quebec, which is in Canada. And that'll be fun, and also kind of not fun. It's a very long drive. Very long. I just try to keep track of the bigger days that I have, the more important things going on in my life, so that I remember to budget for them mostly. That's a lot of why I write out the calendars, is so I know so I know what days important things are happening on and what important things are happening so that I can properly budget for them. The rest of what I do over on this page here is I write out my to-do list and I write out a couple video ideas, and I try to do that every time I set up my month spread. I am committed to doing only one video a week, which is really, really nice because it means I only have to do 4 video ideas every month, but I just write out lists. I just sort of write as many things in this list as I can write out, and a good portion of why I do that is so that if, for whatever reason, I can't think of anything, I can go back to the month before, go through my lists, see if there's anything of substance or value there, see maybe if there's something there for inspiration that I can take. But for the most part, I do have quite a few ideas, quite a few things to play on, and so that's good. That's a good thing. But perhaps 1 month down the line, I'm going to have no ideas, and I'm going to be able to flip through my journal, and in March of 2020, I wrote on my list something. I don't actually remember anything that I put on these lists here. But that's okay, because I don't have to look at the video for reference. I can look at my journal when I need it later on. Another thing that I really like about the way that I journal is that because it is a planner and a diary and a sketch dump and a place where I put all my random sticky notes. I know earlier you saw there are some sticky notes with art on it. Most of them, though, are just like random sticky notes with appointment times on them, or a book that I needed for a class when I was in college several years ago. They're not important, but I keep them, and it's just very messy. And that first of all makes me feel like I'm allowed to use my journal, and second of all means I'm not afraid to add anything to it that I might otherwise want to. For example, the thing that I'm adding in to my journal right here is, it says, today I thought a lot about teeth. And then I'm drawing some teeth. And that's, it's a little weird. I mean, it's something I wouldn't put in my sketchbook. And it's still something that I want to put somewhere. I need to get it out of my head. I do not want to just continue to think a lot about teeth. It's silly. It's a silly thing. But getting it out and putting it somewhere, I can then just set it aside. I can put it to bed, for lack of a better descriptor. And so I put it to bed here in my journal. And with that, I'm gonna leave you to watch the rest of this video. Thank you for coming and hanging out with me and listening to me talk about ghosts and teeth. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.